Hello, guys. How are we doing? I've got to keep it real. I'm not doing too great. I, where do I start? Well, firstly, I think I should say that I understand that I'm very lucky to have the problems that I have because they're very trivial in comparison to a lot of the horrible stuff that's going on in the world right now. I know that I'm very privileged, and I'm very, very grateful to have such trivial problems or concerns in my life. But I'm really not feeling great these days. And I just want to be transparent about it and to talk about it a little bit before starting the episode. Um, so yeah, I don't really know. I'm in a really weird headspace right now. I'm feeling depressed, honestly. I just feel and stressed. Normally, I'm just very anxious. Like I'm a very anxiety-based person. But recently I really just feel kind of depressed, and I think a lot of people will find that um surprising because of how I act on my Instagram and my other YouTube videos. You know, I act normal and fine and happy, and I'm just not. Like, I'm really struggling recently to find motivation to continue doing my videos, to continue doing all of the things that I love. It's like I know that I'm going through a little bit of depression because whenever that happens for me, I find that the things that used to bring me joy and really motivate me start to feel like chores and start to feel really difficult. And it's fine because I go through phases like this and I'm always able to get myself out of it. And honestly, just like doing things like forcing myself to record these podcasts and doing stuff like that, it's really good for my mental health because it gets me out of bed and gets me doing stuff. So, yeah, I just think what's going on with me right now, there's two main things. Hold on, before we get into this, we need to crack open a little CBD soda, not sponsored, but if Trip wants to sponsor me, I literally drink these all the time. They're like little sodas, but they're healthy because they don't have that much sugar in them. And they've got CBD, which is the chemical that's in like weed, but it's not the one that gets you high. It's just the one that relaxes you. And it's completely legal. It's not like a drug. It's literally just like has relaxing properties. And God knows I need that right now. So I'm gonna crack one of these bad boys open. I'm going to try and do it into the microphone for some nice ASMR vibes, but I don't think that my mic has noise cancellation built into it, so I don't think it's gonna pick up the sound of me cracking open the soda can, but let's just try. Oh my God, if you heard that, I really hope you did. You might not have. Okay, let's take the first sip of drink. Oh, it's so cold from the fridge too. So refreshing. Sorry for my slurping noises. I hope none of you have phobia of eating and drinking noises. If you do, skip ahead like 10 seconds. Oh my God. Oh, that's good. Okay. Oh, maybe honestly, that cured my depression. Maybe that's all I needed. So, yeah, two main things are going on. And I won't spend too much time on this because obviously this episode is not about my personal life, but I like to keep it real and I just want to tell you guys what's going on with me. So yeah, the two main things are I'm going through a breakup right now, and breakups suck, no matter if they're like amicable, which means friendly and nice, or if they're really messy. And this breakup is just like really hitting me hard, because I've never felt like as lonely as I do right now. And I think the issue is like I don't have any friends in Bermuda. I don't really have any friends like in general. I don't have any friends. I have like literally I can count on one hand how many friends I have. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm realizing is that I really need to make an effort to make more friends. I might actually make a podcast episode about that, about like being sociable and making friends, because that's something that I really have struggled with like my whole life, which again, I think is like quite surprising because I seem like quite an outgoing person, but I just find it really hard to make like meaningful and lasting connections with people. Like surface level friendships, I find it quite easy, but then like those deeper and more meaningful friendships, for me, I think those are really hard to find. So that kind of got off topic, but basically my ex-boyfriend and I broke up in April, but it's kind of hitting me really hard right now because I was still kind of like seeing him, and also all of my things were at his apartment because I didn't have anywhere to put all my stuff. So I was still like connected in that way with him, and then recently I moved out and now I'm in a different apartment. And then, as some of you might know from previous episodes, I've been dog sitting. So, like every 2 weeks, more or less, I'm in a new place, like in a different house with a different dog and a different environment. And it's really exhausting. It takes a toll. I mean, it's really fun, don't get me wrong. And I love the dogs and I love the whole experience. And it's giving me places to stay rent free, right? So I can't complain. But it is a lot because you have to like pack all your stuff and, your food and bring everything. And moving from place to place, like a lot of people love that. I really need like my own bed. Sorry about that. Somebody called me and I forgot to put my phone on airplane mode, so it stopped the recording. Anyways, like I was just saying that I haven't had my own bed or my own space since I moved home, and that was last September. So, it's coming up on a year, and I've just been moving all over the place, and I think that just really takes a toll on me. And then at the same time, I'm trying to like work on English with Gemma and continue teaching my classes. And it's just a lot when you're moving around. So that's like the first thing. I think it's like my breakup, feeling really lonely, and then also just feeling like I don't have a space to call my own. Um, and then the other thing, which is a huge thing for me right now, is I've mentioned it before, but I'll just briefly explain again. I lived in Spain from 2018 to 2023, and I'll be moving back to Spain in September, September 4th. So I'm moving to Alicante. At least that's the plan. I want to be near the ocean, and it's a little bit cheaper than Madrid, which is where I was before. But I'm now realizing it's actually not as cheap as I originally thought. There's kind of like a housing crisis going on in the whole of Spain right now. And I'm just really stressed because I don't know how I'm going to find an apartment. I've been looking online and I'm just getting really, really worked up and anxious about it because I'm the type of person where I want everything sorted out right now. Like, I want to be organized, I want to have things planned in advance. And that's just not doable for me right now with the whole Alicante and moving situation. And, I don't have like enough money saved up, but I already booked my flight for September. And for my mental health, like, I just need to get out of Bermuda. I need to go back to Spain. I know that that's what I need to do. So even though I don't really have the right amount of money to move countries, I'm doing it anyways. And then that's kind of stressing me out as well. Um, so basically, I can't find any apartments, and I'm worried that I'm gonna show up in Alicante and have like nowhere to live, basically. And I'm realizing I'm probably going to have to also share with some people and have roommates. And of course, like that's not a bad thing, but because of the nature of my job and working from home, recording a podcast, making content, recording videos, it's like really important that I have a quiet space that's my own. And, realistically, when you share apartments with people, you don't have that. When you have roommates, they make noise, they have their own schedules, you're sharing a space with people and you can't start dictating to people like, you all need to be silent because I'm recording my podcast. So realistically, I need a studio apartment, but I don't think I'm going to be able to afford one. So there's just like a lot of things that are going through my head right now. And I have to just slow it down and take a deep breath and remind myself that everything will work out the way that it's supposed to. And a lot of the stuff is out of my control, and I just kind of have to go with the flow and see how it all works out. Um, but I don't know. I just get like sad sometimes because I feel like at 27 years old, I should have my life kind of figured out. And I feel really lost right now. And I feel like a lot of people my age are like getting married and having kids. And I'm like moving to Spain to go live with like roommates. And it just feels like I'm going backwards in life and like I'm regressing back to like university life. And I want to be going forward with my career and with like everything, but it's just like everything costs money and I don't have money. And yeah, it's just really stressful. And I know a lot of you will be able to understand how I'm feeling because life is expensive and stressful. Um, but yeah, those are the main things that are going on with me and the reason why I'm exhausted all the time. I'm stressed all the time and I feel really demotivated and I'm really, really lonely as well. But like I said, these are very trivial problems in the grand scheme of things. So I just have to try and stay positive. And yeah, that's just my little life update. I'm sure by next week's episode I will be feeling much better, but that's just kind of where I'm at right now and I wanted to be honest about it because I don't know. I just feel like this podcast and these YouTube videos are where I can really talk at length and really express myself. Whereas, like, I love my Instagram and I love my community on Instagram, but I feel like those videos are short style videos and, my connection with my Instagram followers, like, I don't go as deep about my personal life. So yeah, I just like to have this platform to kind of talk to you guys and it makes me feel a little bit less lonely. So thanks for listening. And if you have ever felt like similarly to me, feel free to reach out. You can always send me an email or write a comment or whatever. I'm always here for you guys. And I appreciate the support and love that you've given me for the past, well, 2 years on YouTube. No, 1 year on YouTube and 3 years on Instagram, I think. All right, so all of that is out of the way, all the boring personal life stuff, and let's get into our actual topic of today, which is using Netflix to learn English or to improve your English. Let me just get my document opened so I can read. So, yes, today we are going to be diving into the world of Netflix to find the best shows and movies for practicing English. So, we're going to talk about both British and American options, and we'll also discuss techniques that you can use to enhance your viewing experience and to make it like an English learning experience rather than just watching passively. What are the techniques that we can use to watch actively and turn it into English learning? So let's get started. Firstly, I'm sure everyone already knows what Netflix is, but just in case you live under a rock, I'll quickly explain what it is. So, Netflix is a subscription-based streaming service that allows you to watch series and movies on internet-connected devices. That was a long sentence, so let me just take a little sip of my drink. Okay, so our first section is going to be about American TV shows. So these shows are not only entertaining and some of my personal favorites, but also just fantastic for learning like daily conversational American English. So the first one is a classic, and it's Friends. So I'm sure loads of you have probably already watched Friends, but if you might have just watched a few episodes here and there, I really recommend watching it like from the beginning to the end because it is just phenomenal. Um, And it's easy. It's easy, breezy, and chill, and just like nice to follow. So, this is a classic sitcom. If you don't know, sitcom is short for situational comedy. It is perfect for learning conversational everyday English. The dialogue is filled with common phrases, idioms, and loads of slang that you will encounter in daily life. Plus, I think the humor is really relatable and the different scenarios that the characters go through make it easy to follow along. There's nothing too complicated going on there. I would say it's suitable for intermediate to advanced levels just because of the like slang and idioms and phrasal verbs. Definitely not for basic level. And start with English subtitles if you feel like you need to, and then you can always watch like without subtitles the more that you get comfortable. So that's Friends. I love Friends and I love Jennifer Aniston, and it's just like a very nostalgic show because I watched it when I was growing up with my friends. And yeah, it's a classic, it's timeless. All right, this one's a more modern one. This is Stranger Things. So, if you haven't watched Stranger Things, like literally, what are you doing with your life? Because Stranger Things is amazing. This show, okay, before I get into it, let me just read what I have on my screen. This show offers a mix of like children and adult dialogues, a lot of parents interacting with their kids. So it's really going to give you a broad range of vocab. And the storyline is super engaging. You're going to get hooked from the first episode. It's very mysterious. A lot of the episodes leave off on cliffhangers, so you don't really know what's going to happen and you just want to click next, next, next. It's very binge worthy, it's easy to binge watch it, which means just watch episode after episode after episode. You'll definitely pick up a lot of American cultural references and vocab from the 1980s because that's when the show is set. Excuse me. It's great for intermediate learners. Um, and I would say try to focus on the different characters' accents and note down any new vocabulary that you find related to the supernatural kind of themes because that's really interesting. Um, so yeah, basically Stranger Things, I don't want to give too much away and do spoilers if you haven't watched it, but it's very supernatural. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. It is spooky and I would even say scary. So it's definitely like not appropriate for super young children or adults who don't like horror. It's not really okay, you know what? Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and say that from season 2 onwards, it does get more into the horror genre. There's a lot of like gore and blood and violence. So it is definitely creepy, spooky, but it's also very funny. The characters, the interpersonal relationships between the characters are amazing. It's very nostalgic, the 80s vibes and fashion, as well as a really cool soundtrack. I really love the synth music. Yeah, it's very nostalgic. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying it's nostalgic. I didn't grow up in the 1980s, but it makes me feel like I'm in the 1980s. So, if you don't like sci-fi and creepy stuff, it's definitely not good for you. But if you do, like me, it's great, and I really, really recommend it. Okay. This one technically is a British show, but I don't know why it's in my American part. I think it's because, it's about it's The Crown, by the way. I haven't watched it myself, but it came up on a list of things that are good for learning English. The Crown. So it is about British royalty, um, but it's a hit on both sides of the pond, which means in England and in America. It's really great for learning formal and informal British English, and it covers a lot of historical events, a lot to do with like political and cultural vocabulary. And The Crown is really best suited for, I would say, advanced learners. Because it is very formal at times. So pay attention to the formal language used in the political and royal contexts, and then maybe try and compare it with more casual conversations and see how it compares. I'm sorry, I don't know why that was in my American. That must have been my mistake. That shouldn't have been in my American section. Sorry. But, anyways, now we're moving into the British shows, so that's fine. So, we're switching over to British shows, which are equally valuable for English learners. I think if you are learning English, you should get really comfortable with both the American and the British accents. This one's a classic. It's the Great British Bake Off. So it's a lighter, easier, funnier watch. It's great. You'll hear a lot of informal conversations, British humor, and a variety of regional British accents. If you don't know what it's about, it's basically like a bunch of people who go on the show and they have to like bake things, and it's a competition. It's a reality TV show. It's a competition based, and it's funny because sometimes their cakes go disastrously, and there's a lot of like funny moments, and yeah, it's just easy to watch. It's great for intermediate learners, especially if you're into cooking or baking and you want some more like kitchen vocabulary and baking phrases. You're definitely going to get loads of that, and you're going to hear a variety of British accents from the South, the North, the Midlands, all different types of accents. I used to watch it in boarding school when I was living in school in England, and it used to be on in the common rooms. Like we all had our own private rooms, but then there was like a living room downstairs, and people always used to argue about what to watch on TV, but most of the time we could agree on the Great British Bake Off. And yeah, we used to just sit there and laugh a lot at that show. I think it's been running for years, and I assume it's still running. I think they're still doing like episodes. So. Great British Bake Off. The next one is one of my personal faves. I absolutely love this show. I'm sure most of you have heard of it, but if you haven't, it's Sherlock. Sorry. So Sherlock. It's so good. It's so good. Obviously, talking about Sherlock Holmes. If you've seen the movies with Robert Downey Jr. and you like that type of stuff, you're gonna love this one. This has Benedict Cumberbatch. He's amazing in it. It features a lot of really like complex language, fast-paced dialogue. It's ideal for advanced learners just because of like the pace in which they talk. They talk very quickly, and the British wit and humor and the intricate plot lines are just like so it just hooks you. Like it's the whole like the whole historical like the costumes and stuff, and like but it's modern at the same time. You just have to watch it. Like it's so cool. I can't even explain it, and I don't want to give away because it's so like mysterious and there's so many spoilers. Um but one of the fun things that you can do is try to shadow Sherlock. So like when he says a few lines of dialogue, pause it and then pay attention because he goes on a lot of monologues. Like he just talks and talks and talks sometimes when he's into his like detective mode. And you can really use this to practice pronunciation and intonation as well. He has a very distinct way of talking, and it's really cool to listen to, and try to shadow would be fun as well. Um, so yeah, I've rewatched this whole series twice from beginning to end. Benedict Cumberbatch is absolutely amazing, and the guy that plays Dr. Watson, his name is completely escaping me right now. Oh, he's such a famous actor. I just can't think of his. Oh, I have my computer right in front of me. Let me look it up. Um, I can tell you what his name is. He is Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman. Oh my God. Love that guy. He's such a good actor. Love him. Okay. My last one, I think it's my last one. Yep, is okay. I know I just said Sherlock was one of my favorites, but this is like my all-time favorite. This is Peaky Blinders. So, where do I even start? Peaky Blinders. Okay, it offers firstly a variety of accents. You're gonna hear Birmingham, London, Italian, so many accents, so many accents. So it's awesome for that. It's also really cool for like historical context and slang. It starts in the 1920s after the war, and everything about it, like the set design, the costumes, it's just absolutely spot on and like so cool. It's great for advanced learners looking to challenge themselves. I definitely would say you need at least a C1 level to even attempt this, because of the Birmingham accent. Even native English speakers need to watch it with subtitles. I can't understand it without subtitles. So I would say try to note down slang and idiomatic expressions, pay special attention to all those different regional accents that you're going to hear, because it can be really helpful for you. So yeah, If you were to ask me what's my favorite TV series, like hands down, it's Peaky Blinders. And weirdly enough, it actually took me three different attempts to really get into it. Like I tried to start watching it three times and I just couldn't get into it. But once you get past those first two episodes, which are, to be honest, a bit slow paced, like they're building the characters, building the storyline. Once you get past those two episodes, you're going to be totally hooked on all of the characters and all of the drama. And Cillian Murphy is plays Tommy Shelby, the main character, and he's just a beautiful, beautiful man, and he is very nice to look at. So, if you are a woman or a person who's attracted to men, oh, also, not just Cillian Murphy, like literally, there's so many hot men and women. They're just literally everyone, not that it matters, kind of does. Everyone in that TV show is hot, sexy, it's raw, it's interesting, it's fun, it's got comedy, it's got drama. Oh, it's got everything. Okay. So, really quick, techniques for watching TV shows and making it into like an English learning activity. So, obviously, watching TV shows is a very powerful tool to improve your English, but like, how can you really make the most out of it? That's what we want to know. So, here are some techniques to help you along the way. The first one is using subtitles. Do not be ashamed or afraid of using subtitles. It's like super important, especially if you're a beginner, but even if you're not a beginner, just use subtitles. It really doesn't matter. Like, if you really want to challenge yourself or whatever, like, you can turn them off. But I'm a native speaker and an English teacher, and I use subtitles. Okay. My ring light is flickering. I really hope it's gonna stop. Oh my God, please don't do this to me. Okay, we're gonna try to quickly finish this video because my ring light looks like it's gonna die. Okay, pausing and rewinding. Don't be afraid to pause and rewind when you come across difficult sections of dialogue. This gives you the chance to understand and repeat the sentences to improve your pronunciation and intonation. Oh my God, my ring light. I hope it doesn't, I hope you can't see it on me, but it's really flickering. If you don't know what flickering means, it's like my ring light is going like on and off, on and off. Ugh, technology, man. It's so annoying. Okay, shadowing. Shadowing, I have a whole video on shadowing. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend it. Shadowing is listening to a line or phrase, a section of dialogue, and then immediately repeating it with all of like trying to match the speaker's pace and tone. The aim is to obviously improve speaking skills and fluency. The next technique is note taking. So have a little notebook and keep a vocabulary journal to write down new words and phrases as they come up. If you do one of these techniques, this is the most important one because if you're just watching something and you're just like hearing things for the first time and you're like, oh, that's interesting, and then you don't write it down, you're just gonna forget it, right? And the next one is oh no, not the last one, is contextual learning. So this means like pay attention to the context in which the words and phrases are used. That's really important. So like if the speakers are at a dinner party or if they're in the office, like try to really pay attention to like where the actors are, what's the context, and then what's the language that they're using, and then try to use those new words and phrases in their contexts and in those types of sentences to reinforce your own learning. So my last section is my recommendations for active watching. So these are just a few more tips to make your viewing experience even more productive and interactive. So the first one would be to set specific goals. What I mean by that is like decide what you want to focus on before you start watching. So choose carefully. Obviously, I've given you some really good recommendations today, but it totally depends on like what you want to improve, whether it's vocabulary, listening, comprehension, pronunciation, if you want to pay special attention to accents, like that's something to think about. So just like make sure your goals are really specific before you choose what you're going to watch. Try to make interactive activities, maybe engage in like follow-up activities, like maybe you could watch an episode with your friend and then you could discuss the episode with your friend and share your opinions on it, or you could even like write a little summary about it, or you could join like online forums where people discuss the show. Even just going on like Reddit and like talking about the different episodes would be a really good way to practice your English. The next and last tip is to practice regularly. So make watching English TV shows and movies a regular habit that just goes into your day-to-day routine. If you just do it once, you're obviously not going to see progress. You need to like make this a priority. And it's fun. It's easy. It's fun. It's something that we all do, right? We all like watch TV and series, most of us. So try to make it a regular habit and then combine it with other forms of learning, such as reading or speaking practice for the best results. Obviously, this is not like you can't just watch series and expect to be fluent. You have to do a combination. So, thank you guys so much for listening today. I'm sorry that, we started off with like a little bit of depression, but I'm just keeping it real, just keeping it 100% real. I never want to like be fake online. Like that's just not my personality. I'm always going to be like 100% open. And I just want to be really honest about where I'm at. And if anything, I hope it just makes people feel less alone and hopefully somebody can like listen to that and see me talk about it and relate to it and think like, oh, I'm not on my own. Like everyone feels like that because I know, even though I feel super lonely right now, I know like so many people feel like shit like a lot of the time. So it's fine. And, tomorrow's a new day and I just have to keep it positive. And I have to remember all the things that I have to be grateful for and that I live in a safe country with a family that loves me. Like I have so much to be grateful for. So I don't want you to think I'm being ungrateful. I'm just trying to keep it transparent. So to wrap up, using TV shows to improve your English is not only effective, but also fun. So please feel free to try out the shows that I recommended today and apply the techniques that I've shared. I really hope that they help you. I would love to hear your recommendations or TV series or movies that you've watched and you've loved and they've helped you and share your learning experiences. So please feel free to reach out to me, comment below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Check me out on Instagram. I'm on Spotify with my podcast if you want an audio only version of this. If you're on Spotify, check out my YouTube. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Thanks for listening and happy watching and learning. Bye, guys.